In a civilized and cultivated country, wild animals only continue to exist at all when preserved by sportsmen. The excellent people who protest against all hunting and consider sportsmen as the enemies of wildlife are ignorant of the fact that, in reality, the genuine sportsman is by all odds the most important factor in keeping the larger and more valuable wild creatures from total extermination. Theodore Roosevelt. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Wild Initiative Conservation Coffee Break. Today I'm talking with Brian Lynn of Sportsmen's Alliance. Brian, thanks so much for hopping on the line with me today.
Thanks for having us on, man.
So why don't you give me a quick overview of what is Sportsmen's Alliance and what's your role with them?
Well, Sportsmen's Alliance has been around for about 42 years now, I believe. We're based in Columbus, Ohio, and our sole reason for being is to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping from the animal rights movement. We work in all 50 state legislatures, state and federal court, and at the ballot box. So when the animal rights movement comes along and they have so much money, they can self-fund ballot initiatives. We put up the defense and help organize sportsmen on the ground and come in with 40 years of experience battling the ballot initiatives, and try to keep everybody working and out hunting and keep the North American model of conservation intact so we can keep doing our good work. You know, all the other groups out there can keep doing the habitat work.
And what's your role with Sportsmen's Alliance?
I'm the vice president of marketing and communications, so pretty much everything we put out, I touch, you know, whether it's with our youth initiatives or it's press releases going out, social media, website, print materials for our members, our magazine, whatever. I do that and come on shows like this and spread the message.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit before this. You guys are in a very unique position to where you're kind of, I guess, the direct response for the anti-hunter. So, we were kind of talking about this. This is really like stuff. This is the stuff people get really fired up about. We
call it the red meat. You know, it's like this gets people fired up, gets our audience fired up. You know, all of the hunters and trappers and everybody out there. We like to refer to ourselves as kind of the tip of the spear, or it's in our logo there. It's kind of looks like a spear. It's a pointed carrot type thing, and that's kind of what we are. We're very small, we're a small organization, and it's really the power. Our power comes from the rest of the industry. It comes from the general hunting public who voice opposition to these bills or ballot initiatives or whatever. We just have a great legal team and defense, and we know how to, fight these bills and fight these ballot initiatives and court cases. But our power comes from the support of the industry as a whole and is from our members and the hunters in general. But yeah, we're on the front lines every day, and this past year has just been insane, with the amount of legislation, and we're in 4 court cases. So it's been busy.
And I think it's really important to note, as I've been doing these coffee break interviews and stuff, I think it's important to note that it's critical that we attack these things from multiple angles. It's a team effort between a lot of those organizations and the people that support them, to where, it's not always just enough to support RMEF. They do their part, and but it's important that we focus on things from a legal aspect and fighting those bills and whatever comes up. It's important that we do on the ground habitat work. It's important to support our wildlife, wild place, our hunting traditions. It's important we come at it from all angles, and it's easy to just focus on one small thing sometimes because something may not be as exciting or quite as sexy to support, but it's just critical.
Yeah, that's definitely true. What we do isn't sexy and exciting, and we don't have a mascot, so to speak, an elk or a deer or a duck to hang our hat on. All of our stuff is intangible. It's it's this thing that's off in the future that could be there and maybe will impact you. But by the time it impacts you, you've lost a season. You've lost a method or mean of hunting. So it's almost like insurance. You hate paying for it and using it, until you need it. But if we lose, we kind of have a saying, when we lose, you lose. When we win, you win. If we lose, the entire industry loses. It doesn't matter if you're shooting a Browning or a Benelli or a Remington or a Winchester or what. If you lose a season, you're not shooting any of them. It doesn't matter what camo pattern you're wearing or anything else. You lose. The industry loses a customer, and we lose a season, and the average guy loses time in the field and memories and harvesting animals. The other side likes to say they care about animals, but if we start losing seasons and dates, all that habitat work REMF, DU, and everybody else does starts going out the window, because it's based around hunting and consumptive sports. So yeah, if we lose, it has a trickle down effect to everybody else.
Well, and I definitely think people also don't realize what happens in one state or in one area absolutely will affect you in yours. It sets a precedent to where, everybody likes to talk crap about us out here in California, and just let them do whatever the heck they want. I'm like, well, we're fighting stuff out here, but the second, we just lost bobcat hunting this year, January.
Yeah, we were working hard on that. Yeah, and that happened quickly. Yeah, California is kind of the epicenter for it all. Hollywood, West Hollywood is San Francisco Bay. Those areas are the stronghold for the animal rights movement. And what happens in California spreads. It goes right up to Oregon. I live in Washington State. It goes there. It jumps over to the East Coast, goes to Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and then they just start picking off states as they can. It's definitely precedent setting, and a lot of times it's coordinated. That's what we saw in 2019 was a coordinated effort to ban coyote hunting contests. Started in New Mexico, Montana, Oregon, went over to Wisconsin, New York, New Jersey, and then it circled back and came to Nevada. And what it did is it went from coyote contests to wildlife contests. And the language got broader and broader. And pretty soon it included anything, any type of contest, even you and I going out and making a bet for something. Hey, first coyote killed, you're buying dinner. You'd be guilty of engaging in that. Just promoting it on Facebook would get you in trouble with the law. And then it got so bad that by the time it circled back to Nevada, it was a felony, same as manslaughter. So it's just, the language gets very broad and all encompassing, and can catch just about anybody doing anything. And you really have to dive in there and look at it and get down to it.
So we talked a little bit about the Bobcats and these competitions. What are some of the other higher level issues or more urgent issues that you guys are tackling currently?
From the high level standpoint, trapping is always one that's out there. They're on the front lines. They're getting hammered, pretty much illegal in California.
I was going to say something else we just lost.
Yeah, Washington State, no trapping. So it's always getting hammered. It's very easy for the other side to paint them as barbaric and everything else, and then evoke dogs getting caught and other bycatch and all that. And a lot of times our own sportsmen don't stick up for that. They're on the front lines. As soon as they're gone, the animal rights movement is going to move on to the next thing. Dogs, dog hunting. They want to get rid of that. They're banning that left and right, or trying to, a lot of times they put in things in there for dog laws that seem reasonable, that seem, as welfare. They're disguised as animal welfare, not animal rights. But when you start getting into the language of the bills, it's going to impact sportsmen. New Hampshire, Florida just had one. that had sporting dogs would have destroyed sporting dogs. They can't be outside if it was below 32 degrees. Well, if you have a duck dog, that dog needs to be able to be out and get acclimated to cold weather. New Hampshire has building codes, that are just insane. And so we have to look at those things and contact the legislators and be like, hey, this is the impact. This is what's going to fall out. It's going to impact sportsmen and make them guilty just from actually doing the right thing. So dog laws are big one, trapping ones, the coyote contest, of course, public land, different things like that. New Mexico that just closed down a couple 100 acres right outside Albuquerque. So we're working on that. And that's a state that's really swung to the side of the animal rights movement, banning coyote contests by executive order on state lands or state trust lands. Going after trapping, they tried to ban trapping this year. We stopped that, and now they're closing public lands right outside the city, which is a great place for people to get out real quick. It was like 8 miles from town or something, and they banned all sportsman activity on that. So they're just coming in. This year we had 300 to 400 bills, I think, that we were monitoring and fighting nationwide and during the first half of 2019. And now they're starting to come back into session, so things are moving again.
So, two-part question here. If folks wanted to find you guys online, where can they hunt you down? And also, what is the best way for people to get involved with the mission of Sportsmen's Alliance?
So you can find us online. We're on all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Facebook is really the active one that gets engagement and gets people talking, and there's some discussions going on. You can find us online at our website, sportsmensalliance.org. So that's MENS. Everybody changes it around. So it's plural, sportsmensalliance.org. If you want to get involved, you can sign up on the website to get our weekly email that sends out kind of a quick hitting what's going on around the country. You can also sign up for your own state. So when something happens in your state and moves that we're working on and we put out there, you'll get an alert, like, hey, you need to call or email in or whatever. And that's really the biggest thing. You need to get engaged and call and make our voices heard. Otherwise, they're not going to listen, and they're slowly going to take each of these seasons one by one. It's a death by 1,000 cuts approach.
All right, y'all. Well, make sure you head on over to our conservation page. That's thewildinitiative.com/conservation. You can scroll down, check out look for the Sportsmen's Alliance logo, or give them a search in the search bar. You can get links to everything we talked about here, the website. You can get links to all of the socials. Go check them out. Make sure you sign up. Give Sportsmen's Alliance some support. Brian, thanks so much for taking the time to hop on with me today.
Thank you very much.